What's good, everybody? Welcome to our BTT Extra, where we drop an episode just 10 or 15 minutes because we understand you have a life. But because of what the last word and who we had on, I thought it'd be kind of a cool week to go over something that we hate in the business, but you have to deal with and move on. That's getting dropped by the WWE when everybody else is getting bonuses. So let's bring in the cast of the last word from this past Monday night. Of course, Big Tommy C is here, Gabby is here, and our very special guest star, Victoria, is here. Victoria, did you have a good time on the last word? That's all.
Oh my gosh, a blast, honestly. And you know the passion I have for all this stuff. So I
love you.
Thank you so much, you guys.
You're welcome. If it's up to Gabby, you'd be like the permanent fourth member on this team. That's what Gabby wants.
Thanks. You know, the only reason why I did it was because your intern Dan.
Intern Dan's amazing. He really is amazing. He is amazing. By the way, he edited that Matt Morgan piece that dropped on Monday night. If you guys haven't watched it here on our YouTube page, we encourage you to do that. All right, this is one topic and one topic only. And unfortunately, the four of us have been through this in some way, shape, or form during our careers in the wrestling business. And Tommy, I'm going to start with you because Sonya Deville, who when she started 10 years ago, we were on the same planes all the time. I loved her. Such a nice person. Just got married to a beautiful wife, has some kids. And she thought she was negotiating a deal. And she thought they were calling to say, okay, here's our number after already talking. No, they said, we're cutting it. We're not going to renew your contract and you are done. She's been very mature about it. But when you get these calls, Tommy, and actually I'm going to start with Victoria on this one because she was a former diva. When you get the calls like this, Victoria, how do you deal with it in the moment? Because she's been very, very, hey, I've got to be thankful. I'm not bitter. I got to be honest. There was times where I lost certain gigs. I never got fired, but they took me off shows and I was pissed. Well, how do you react to this, Victoria?
You know, I think she's trying to take the high road because she's very young and you never know when you're going to come back. Okay. So, when we get that area code 203 calling you, when I got my Legends contract, I didn't answer the phone. I text, I go, sorry, I'm at the post office. I was not at the post office. And then they said, hey, we want to offer you a Legends contract. And I called, I go, hey, I was lying. I was at the post. I'm being completely honest too. I said I was lying. I just got scared. I was like, oh my God, they're going to take me to SmackDown. They're going to switch me a show or I'm going to get fired. You always are fearful of that fired call. That's why the 203 area code, I don't pick up ever.
It's the worst. It's the worst.
But I didn't realize she was being led on about renegotiating her contract. So I'm sure when she picked up that phone, she's like, oh my God, they're going to re-sign me. Oh my God, this is exciting. And then get that I would have thrown up. I'll be honest with you. Oh my God, I'm getting teared up because I feel sorry for her because you're so excited to be about, your whole life. You're like wanting to be on that platform. Your dream is to be in WWE. And then to get that call to go, sorry, we don't have anything for you. Good luck in your future endeavors. That's like, it's a dagger in your heart. But, I'm
so glad you said that because everybody just says, oh, I'm just happy for the time. And Tommy, you were in the WWE for 32 years. Yeah. You are invested. And when you're in it that long, your whole life is that. For them to say when you're 60 years old or whatever, hey, we're not going to use you anymore. That's way different than if you're 30 or 35 and you have a chance to start over. Yeah. It sucks, right, Tommy?
Yeah, I got that call. The 203 came up. I actually didn't answer the call first. It was Kevin Dunn, and it was during the pandemic. I got furloughed first from April to July, right? And then July came. We go to another month, August. I was at Mohegan Sun with my wife. My phone rang. I didn't answer it. Thought it was a butt dial. It was a text from him and saying, hey, man, can you call me? Call him up. And I was devastated, Coach. 32 years, and everything just stops right then and there. And you think of all the hours and all the days and the vacation and all the holidays that you worked and everything on the road. I was on the road for 6 years and it just stops. It fucked my head big time, man. I was devastated for months. I'm surprised I'm still married because I became this mole where I just would sit in my back room and just think about what is going to happen next for me. Obviously, I got a severance, but when you're rat racing, working 12-hour days, working Raw, SmackDown, going to the pay-per-views, and then it stops, it's fucking devastating, dude. Yeah. And I was just a TV production. I wasn't a talent like Victoria.
But it's also in a company that I didn't dream about it, but I certainly grew to love it. And because when you're on the road 52 weeks a year and you don't think about doing anything else. Gabby, let me come over to you, because I think the one thing that I get so frustrated at, because I was one of the lucky ones that I was able to get out, go to ESPN. I have the PGA Tour now, and then I still get to do this. But not everybody is that lucky, and it sucks when it slaps you upside the face, and then all of a sudden they're saying, well, we had the greatest quarter financially that we've ever had. And you see these guys like Kevin Dunn getting $5 million, Ari getting $20 million, Vince getting whatever. And you're like, wait a second, you couldn't have given me $5 or $10 grand, or you couldn't have paid me my $60,000 to keep me. I think that's what, for those of us that have been inside the WWE or around the wrestling business like you have as well, that still frustrates me to this day. Your take?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine it. Like, you work so hard for this, and you work your ass off, and you're there every week, and you do what you're told, and you do everything that you think you can do, and then just with a phone call, your entire life changes. You know, your routine changes, what you do every week changes. It's like, I don't think people realize it's not a normal sport that, oh, you could retire and at the end of it, you get traded, you get released. Like, there's no off season in wrestling, right? It's a lifestyle to live this way. So like, I see from the outside, I'm not a talent, I'm not a wrestler. Like, I get it. I couldn't imagine the heartbreak. You know, I went through something similar. I obviously not WWE. Obviously I'm not a talent, like whatever, but I think a lot of us have been in those positions where you get laid off and you don't see it coming. And that pain is a very similar pain. And for me, when it happened to me, I beside myself. I was in my room for 2 weeks. I didn't leave my room. I was crying every day. I didn't know what to do with myself. Mentally, what it does to you is takes you to places you didn't even know your mind could go to.
Yes.
And it's scary, but it also makes you really look at yourself and say, like, am I going to be a victim forever and use this as something that's going to get me down? Or am I going to use this as a time in my life where I'm going to turn things around and do something different? And this is a sign for me to be strong and do all these things. So like, a lot of these talents that get released end up doing things 10 times better than what they were doing, you know, or coming back even bigger. I always use Chelsea Green as a fucking example. I'm sorry, I know I'm not allowed to curse, but like Chelsea Green.
Oh, this is YouTube now. You can curse on YouTube.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, Chelsea Green was someone who was released and she came back, and look at her now, and she utilized that and she did these things. And like, that's not going to be everybody, right? And it's not hard. And I hate when people right away are like, it's going to be great for you. Because guess what? Almost live in the sadness a little bit. Let yourself heal and let yourself be sad, because like I did, and that was my experience. And you find out how strong you are at the end of the day going through this kind of pain. And I know that sounds very like motivational and like whatever, but at least that was my experience. Very different, but it's the pain is pain at the end of the day.
It really is. And I gotta be honest, I
feel like when she took that time off, she was saying, she goes, I'm at the gym, I'm working on myself now. It got her time to reflect on herself. And then when I have people come up to me, I want to be a wrestler when I grow up, I always encourage, go to college too. Right. Have a backup plan. Have a backup plan, because you tear your knee, you break your neck, what the hell are you going to do? You're out of a job. And when I was done with wrestling, that's when I entered therapy, because I didn't know how what am I going to do? But it was my decision, I'm done. But I was like, how am I going to transition to this life? But then when I went to the therapist, she goes, you're okay. You already like washed your hands of it and you're ready. And you kind of realized I'm getting older. I was one of the older girls. And she goes, now we need therapy for your marriage. So that's what I got out of the therapy. But some people like Gabby came back stronger and harder. She worked on herself, lost a lot of weight, became shredded, and she took that time to reflect on herself. Not everybody goes through that. Most of the people in my generation, depressed, oh my gosh, I don't want to live anymore. There's nothing for me out there. That's why you need to have something kind of like just a backup, little college education. What if this doesn't work out for me? Not saying you don't believe in your dreams, but do I have medical background, whatever, just anything to just be not depressed on yourself going, I'm not just a wrestler. I have brains too,
I'm so glad you said that, because it's funny. I never planned on doing this. And part of what motivates me, and I've told Gabby this, I've told Tommy this, is at this point in my life, after 13 years in WWE, 10 years at ESPN, and the stuff I get to do now, what motivates me the most is pettiness. What motivates me is anger when somebody misses talent, like they miss on Gabby. And I will not stop with this brand until we're on 5 days a week, until we're a 5-day radio show. And Gabby's doing this for a living, because I'll say this publicly. There are very, very few, I don't care if it's men or women, better talent than her. And when Sirius said, we're going to let you go, that was one of the biggest mistakes I've ever seen in the business. And I will stand on that, and we're going to start doing this just like with Tommy. I called Tommy Victoria, and he thought I wanted him to produce this damn show. I said, hell to the no. I want you on the damn thing.
Yeah, I think I stopped tuning into the show when Gabby was done. And not to crap on the product, God bless them, but Gabby was a draw.
Absolutely.
She has that it factor, and she's real. She's not bullshitting. And Gabby, you can relate to every walks of the earth. You can relate, and that's what people become fans of you.
That's right.
Because, you're real. You're not going, oh, I'm just so blessed. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, we appreciate that.
Wow.
We're shooting this thing to the moon. And that's why also that you talked about Pat McAfee tonight, and I had a conversation with him, a couple other really big stars that went off on their own, and they said, Coach, if you don't do this now and help the people around you with the ability you have to build shows and brands, then you're never going to do it. And look what we're doing after 8 months right here. We're on Stadium. We're in 100 million homes, and we're just getting started. We don't need that.
Coach and Tommy, you guys are a talent. When they let you guys go, what the hell are they thinking?
That's what I'm saying.
I don't get it. And then we have to always go, okay, it's wrestling. That's what we have to tell. This is what wrestlers say. This is wrestling, because there's no excuse or there's no explanation. It just happens.
100%. 100%. All right, we're going to leave it right there. We drop the BTT extra episodes every couple of weeks, whenever we feel like it, at our YouTube page. Just watch them and then share them and all that good stuff. And don't forget the last word every Monday night. And for you premium members, you get the War Room. It's where me and Tommy go head to head, spar it out, and I whip his tail every single time. That'll do it for us. For Tommy, Victoria, Gabby, producer man, intern Dan, I'm the coach. We'll see you next time right here, BTT Studios. Take care.